Y'all, I'm so excited. I'm here with Mary Gauthier. I'm just tickled to death to have her here. We're talking about her memoir, Saved by Song. It's the art and healing power of songwriting. This is so much more than a memoir, though. It's everything. Okay, so I'm going to tell you just a little bit about it if you hadn't heard about this book yet, and then I'm going to ask Mary some questions because she's busy. Let's see. It's part, and it says here in the book, it's part memoir, part philosophy of art, part nuts and bolts of songwriting. Saved by Song pulls the curtain back on the artistry of making music and celebrates its healing power to inspire and change lives.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
I stand by that.
Okay, I'm just going to read a few of the endorsements from the back because they are just so damn cool. And then I am going to say one thing about your prologue. I lied. I said I wasn't going to be talking a whole lot, but okay. So Wally Lamb says this is generous and big-hearted. Gauthier has stories to tell and worthwhile advice to share. Mary's songwriting speaks to the tender aspects of our humanness. We need her voice in times like these more than we ever have. That's Brandy Carlisle. Gauthier has an uncanny ability to combine songwriting craft with a seeker's vulnerability and a sage's wisdom. Amy Ray of the Indigo Girls. And Emmylou Harris says that Mary Gauthier has come through her own long, dark night of the soul, knowing, as she says in one of her songs, we could all use a little mercy. It seems to me we could all use a whole lot more of Mary, too. I agree. And then Sarah Silverman said, I remember exactly where I was the first time I heard a Mary Gauthier tune, and that's the kind of songwriter she is. And I do, too. I almost had to pull off the interstate. It just grabbed me. And then Robert Plant, beautiful, often ragged, song and verse from a high place.
Can you believe it?
Pretty impressive. Gosh, okay, in your prologue, I love how your prologue is an invitation. Oh, I was listening to James Wade. He's a great writer, and we're talking about prologues, and I thought he's going to love this one. So I can't wait for him to get hold of this book. All right. Let's see, I guess. Well, I don't know. You want to say anything before I start asking you questions? Is there?
I just am grateful to be talking with you about the book. In all honesty, it's been a steep climb. It is very difficult to write a book and to do it well, and it took me many years. It took almost 6 years to put this one together. Once the publisher finishes their 30 or 45 days of trying, they just walk away. They don't keep working for you, and so it's up to me to find my readers. What we're doing here today is going to help me find a few more readers, and I want to find them. I know they're out there, but it's not easy when you're not a famous author to find your readers. Even though I have had success as a songwriter, I find that getting the book into the hands of the people who will appreciate it has been work and continues to be work, and you're helping me with that work, and I appreciate it.
Oh, I love doing it. And especially a book like this, Mary. Gosh, it's I just love it. And as an author myself, I know exactly what you're saying. It's hard, it's just that finding those readers, getting it in front of those readers and just getting it in their hand. And then something happens, because they'll share it, they'll talk about it, it's just getting in that little sweet spot.
Finding the readers that it's right for. Yeah. That's what I'm on a mission to do, and it's one reader at a time.
Well, I hope I can help you. I'm gonna try.
Thank you.
So 6 years to write. 6 years to write it. It is a big difference, isn't it? Writing songs and writing a book.
Massive difference.
like, when did you know that you were going to write a memoir?
Oh, I'm a avid reader. You probably can see I got books. I got books everywhere. I got thousands of books in this house. I got books everywhere in every room. And I've always fancied myself a writer, but I would have never done it if I didn't get a book deal. And so the reason I did it is because I got a book. A book deal came to me, and that gave me I guess the deadline. It gave me the motivation. But gosh, I admire and love writers so much and appreciate beautiful sentences. And I'm an avid reader and always fancied myself an author, but I hadn't really written. I mean, I did a couple of short stories for some collections and stuff, some essays, some magazine contributions, but until I sat down to write a proper book, I really had no idea just how challenging it is to do it well.
It's hard. In Nashville, I had a bunch of friends that were songwriters, and, I was in awe, that they could write a story in 3 minutes, right? Because it's like the good songs, are ones that tell a story. And, some of them were like, let's get together and try to write something. Well, I can't do. I mean, it's like, there's no way. It's a whole different animal. And I knew that you had published some stories and some anthologies and different literary magazines. Is there one that you're like really proud of?
Well, Melville House put out a short story in a collection called Amplified, short stories written by songwriters. And I thought that was a good running start for me as a writer of something other than songs. I'm pretty proud of that. It's called At the Holiday Inn Again, and it's a look into sort of the early days of my life and my parents' struggle with each other, and what me and my brother and sister lived with back then. My mom would get pissed and leave my dad, and we'd all go to the Holiday Inn, me and my brother and my sister and my mom, and I had to pack up my brother and sister, all their school stuff and all the things that kids need for the next day, their books, and it's a look back into dysfunctional family, which I think, as a Southerner, we're experts at. And I am proud of that because I got into the voice of a 9-year-old who was in charge of her brother and sister.
Oh, I'm going to have to find it. I'm going to have to get a copy of that. It's funny because when you said that about being from the South and those stories, I've got a bunch from my childhood, and my friends, it's funny, we'll talk about stuff, and it's stuff that if you're not from the South, people are like horrified. They're like, this is terrible, and we'll just be cackling. And then when my friends that are writers I'm talking about, they'll like, well, in the conversation with, you're so damn lucky. You've got so many stories to pull from.
We have material.
That's right.
Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. So it took 6 years to complete. But were you writing songs and playing gigs when you were writing this memoir? You don't take breaks, do you?
I don't have time. I don't have time to slow down.
Well, that's good, I think.
I'll slow down when I die. I have a lot of ambition and I have a lot of motivation, and I love my job. That said, I'm not going to rush out another book. That was just, oh my God, let's let that one sit around for a few years. I'm not going to be cranking out book after book, but I do really love my job, both as an author and as a songwriter and as a performer. And I like the business of music. I run my own career. I like business. I do it because I want to do it. I don't have to do it anymore, but I want to do it.
I love it. And so you're also a teacher, right?
Yes, I teach a lot. I work with songwriters of all ages several times a year in small groups. And that's part of my joy is helping songwriters to see their talent and show them where their courage is, and encourage them to be brave. It's part of my calling to do that, and I love working with especially older songwriters who haven't really dedicated themselves to it because life got in the way, and now they have a little time. And oh man, that's my favorite student right there.
Oh, I love it. And they've got the best stories.
They've got something to talk about. Exactly. The challenge is for them to be vulnerable and brave.
Yeah. Gosh, we could talk about that for an hour.
Oh yeah.
So what would be like the biggest takeaway that you would like readers to take with them? Something they'll think about for a long time when they finish Saved by Song.
Well, that's a real good question. I think the overarching thesis and theme and big idea of the book is that music and song can be more than just entertainment. And in my life, it literally has been a form of salvation. And I've heard many other songwriters say the same thing. And I've heard many, many listeners say the same thing. So there's escapism and checking out and pure entertainment and those kind of songs, which are a certain type of song. And those are great. Everybody needs to check out every now and then and just dance and have a good time. And that is perfectly good. And nobody says that it needs to end. It's needed. But then there's these other kind of artists and songwriters, of which I see myself, whose job it is to get people to check in, not check out. And we can all live together harmoniously. One is not better than the other. That said, the idea of the book is that music and song can be alchemy. And this alchemy is a type of transformation around trauma, I think. Having worked with veterans for a decade, I saw music and song alchemize some of the worst war trauma. Does that mean cure it? No. It means create something that generates empathy so that the trauma becomes a springboard for something useful for others. And in that purpose, there's some healing that can occur when a soldier realizes my story can help others. Or when a songwriter like me, long before I worked with veterans, started to realize, wow, people are resonating with my songs and they're telling me that it helps them. I know it's helping me. That's my big idea.
Well, your words are powerful. Like how I said the first time I heard, I think Mercy was the first song I heard of yours. And it's, I was just going through a time in my life and I was like, whoa, it hit, like I can't hardly even talk about it without like I feel like I'm gonna start crying. But it was such a strong that I was on the interstate going to work and I thought I'm gonna have to pull off. I couldn't, it just was everything and so smart and just honest. And I was like, I think Mary wrote that song for me. And I bet there, so many people feel the same way. That's got to be a great feeling.
It's a great feeling. And honestly, I wrote that song for me. and then I put it in the world and people claimed it. And that's what you want as a songwriter, for people to say, Mary, play my song. Like, yeah, I'll play your song. Yeah. Because it was of service to you in a time when you needed it. And that, to me, is a higher calling. It's a bit of a ministry. It's more than a show business enterprise.
And that's what your memoir is going to be too. Same thing, all your words, everything. You're just you're an inspiration, to so many. Golly, seriously, to so many. And so, who inspires you?
Well, I have respect for so many creative types and others, so many of the veterans that I've worked with, so many strong, smart women in politics. I'm inspired by people who exhibit courage. When I know that what they're doing is scary and they have to be afraid, but they're doing it anyway, man, that's inspirational. It's inspirational.
Yeah.
And not just women, men, people who are brave. And, courage is, by definition, being afraid and doing it anyway. That is inspirational to me because it's contagious. Just like cowardice is contagious,
Yes.
courage is contagious. And I want to be around people that have courage,
Yes.
that do something in the world, that put their ass on the line and say something and do something and are willing to take the blowback and the risk of saying and doing something. And
Yes.
those are the people I am inspired by, and those are the people that help me to be brave.
You're right. It is contagious.
Yeah.
And there's too many people that just sit down back and they don't take a side. They say, they're saying, well, I'm not going to take a side. Well, not taking a side in a lot of situations is taking a side. If you're just letting things happen and you're seeing things happen, and you're just watching people just get hurt and beat down and you're not doing anything to stop it, well, you are taking a side.
I'm with John Lewis, the great John Lewis. If you see something, say something.
Yeah, that's right.
It takes courage. That's the thing. And a lot of people are really afraid because there is going to be blowback, and it's instantaneous these days. There will be people who don't like what you have to say or what you believe. And so their dislike is very silencing if you allow yourself to linger too long in the fear.
Yeah.
I just really want to be aligned with my values and my sense of right and wrong. And sometimes it takes a little while for me to know where I fall in some things. And I want to write songs and be a songwriter whose songs do something in the world. More than just entertain. There's an entertainment faction of it. There's an entertainment requirement. They have to be melodically sound, well constructed, and they have to have told the story in a way that people resonate. But I want there to be content that matters and means something. And in my world, I'm talking empathy.
Yeah. Wow. So if you could go back in time and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Wow. I think I would tell little Mary that she's lovable and that it's going to take a while to find the people that are capable of loving her, but they will come. And that people's inability to love little Mary didn't make her unlovable. Because that would have changed my life if I knew I was lovable as a little person. I probably wouldn't have ended up as a drug addict and an alcoholic. On the other hand, all this is part of my mission, and it's what drives me as an artist, and I probably had to go through it to get to the songs and to get to an understanding of who I am that sort of was part of my spiritual journey. But I wish if I had the wish to be granted, I could go back and convince her that she was indeed not unlovable.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good advice for everybody.
Kids need love, and they need consistency. And when they're surrounded with mental illness and addiction, they're not safe. And they internalize it. For a child, that almost automatically means they think it's their fault and that they're wrong. And that's what happened to me. And, nobody did it to me. They were just doing it.
Yeah, that's one of the, now that I'm 53 and, look back on my life, I realize like, my parents, they made lots of mistakes. Who didn't make mistakes, right? And it's, when I got older and just worked through stuff, I just look back and think, well, how hard their lives were. They're both alcoholics and they both, it's like, bunch of stuff. I left home at 15 but you know what? I'm so glad I left home at 15.
Me too.
And it's like, I don't know. There's some in my life, but I wouldn't change who I am now. And if I had to go through that to be me,
Yeah, and I don't think we could get here without going through that.
yeah. And I love what you said. They didn't do it to you.
No, they just were doing it.
And like my parents, like too, like, it's like they didn't do it to me. I know if they could change. I mean, how miserable their days were, right?
Yeah, and it was done to them. And this gets generationally passed on until somebody says, enough.
Enough.
It stops here. I'm going to do whatever work it takes for it to stop here. And, I've done that. I got sober when I was 27 in 1990. I'm still in therapy. I probably always will be. I've done any number of healing modalities, including being an artist, to try to heal and stop it here. And when you take a stand and plant the flag and say no, it ends here, then it can end here, but it's a very difficult lifelong commitment to put an end to it, because when you get I guess the word is raised in the chaos of addiction, mental illness, and high level dysfunction, you're wounded. So it's not easy to do it differently, and I struggle with that daily. Although I'm doing it differently, and I have to say I've grown a lot and continue to grow and have a long way to go, all of it.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky, very fortunate that I never, I had a son and when I was 15, so I couldn't do any drugs because I had so much responsibility,
Yeah, wow.
That's what we say, it's like people are like, oh, poor you. And I'm like, if I hadn't had him, who knows, where I'd have been. But my thing is like, trying to be the caretaker to everybody. And, just there's so many things that people who grow up in highly dysfunctional homes with mental illness and how it just, it just affects you.
Well, yeah, you grow up thinking if I don't take care of it, nobody will. And that was the truth. So you take care of it as a little person and then you can't stop. And so then you're drawn to people who need taken care of, which is unattractive, unappealing, and unrewarding. Yeah. And so you got to put a name to it and identify this behavior as unhealthy on your part. And this whole thing is just a hell of a lot of work. And my experience has been that writing about it in both the book, essays, and songs have really helped me to see it. And once you see it, you got choices.
Well, and you're giving everybody choices with your words. So what are you working on now?
Well, I just got off a 30-day tour in Europe and the UK. So I'm a little jet lagged still. I'm pretty tired. I am not in a creative mode right now. I've been in a business mode for a while. But my life partner Jamie's about to release her record, and I am focused on being supportive now. And I'm going to cheerlead her and slow down. And once I slow down and put myself into more of a supportive role, I imagine I'll become creative again.
Oh yeah.
And I'll want to look at some songs and try to see if there's a seed of some other writing that I feel called to do. I know I want to write another book. but I don't know what it should be yet until I have a sense of that. I'll just work on songs, but I'm going to slow down, I think, in the next little bit. Well, yeah, that said, I won't slow down till May, but that's this next quarter, it starts to slow down some, and then I'm going to be supportive to Jamie, and I'm going to be home, which is, actually, I'm looking forward to it.
Good, good. Yeah, when you slow down, like you said, it's funny. It'll all come just flowing in. You'll have all
Yeah.
kinds of ideas.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I know you're busy, so I won't keep you. But I appreciate this so much, and I cannot wait to feature you in Well Read. I'm
Thank you
so
for
excited.
Thank you for your appreciation of the book and your kind words and enthusiasm. I really needed that today.
Well, I hope we get to talk again.
Yeah, in the real world somewhere.
Yeah. Well, take care.
Mandy, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.